Hello Group 1, welcome to your reading. First, let's look at where this feeling of not belonging comes from. We have 9 of Pentacles and 8 of Cups in reverse. We also have the Sun as the underlying card. This is very interesting. My immediate impression is that you are not someone who leaves. You are someone who always returns. What do I mean by that? For most people, not belonging feels like a burden, a fear, or a painful lesson that needs to be overcome. But for you, this feeling of not belonging is actually something very familiar. In many ways, it has become your comfort zone. It gives you a strange sense of stability. It's almost as if maintaining this feeling has become a skill that you've carefully cultivated. You approach it like an expert. You have never truly wanted to replace it or get rid of it. Instead, you will refine it, polish it, and turn it into something that resembles a piece of art or even a luxury item. I see you observing this feeling almost like an artist or researcher. You studied it closely, finding beauty and elegance within it, and continue to perfect it. In some ways, you even enjoy the sense of not belonging because to you, not belonging represents freedom and limitless possibilities. The reason I say you are someone who may leave temporarily but will always return is because of the Sun as your underlying energy. The Sun exists as an independent entity. It doesn't belong to any relationship, group, or community, yet it still shines, it still appears, it still returns. Even if you occasionally experience emotional ups and downs, when viewed across the larger timeline of your life, you are not someone who becomes overly attached to belonging. In fact, you may not even believe that you need to belong. For you, not belonging is not a lack, it's a characteristic, it's a solar quality. The Sun does not belong to the Earth, yet every living thing depends on it. The Sun is always there, even if it's not visible every moment. Likewise, people do not need to constantly see your light in order to benefit from it. Because your energy moves in harmony with nature itself, only occasionally do you feel anxious about not belonging. Deep down, you already know that you are like the Sun. You possess your own light and your own warmth. You do not need a world to validate your brilliance. You do not need to borrow warmth from others. Instead, you bring light to people by recognizing their light. You awaken others through your creativity and your presence. So if we must ask where these feelings come from, I would simply say that it is part of your natural design. I want to emphasize this. This quality happens to be called not belonging. It is not a flaw, and it is certainly not a deficiency. Another thing I want to mention is that when you become deeply focused on something, when all of your attention gathers into a single point, you naturally create what feels like an energetic boundary around yourself. But this isn't because you truly don't fit in. It's simply the energy field created by your concentration. There are times when you need to step away from the collective and return to your own inner world. But both the reversed Eight of Cups and the Sun suggest that whenever you are truly needed, you always show up. The Nine of Pentacles also highlights something important. Your sense of not belonging comes from your inner and outer abundance. Because you have always possessed a certain fullness within yourself. Your spirit does not need to belong, and your material world does not need to depend. Now let's see what this feeling is trying to teach you. We have the Star and the Queen of Swords. We also have Three of Pentacles as the underlying energy. This feeling of not belonging is teaching you how to manage your own light. It's teaching you how to let your light expand and contract naturally. The previous cards emphasize your independent and abundant inner world, but these cards are inviting you back into the collective. They ask you to be activated, inspired, and touched by other people. They soften what is rigid, they strengthen what is gentle. The Star is another card of light, and when paired with the Queen of Swords, it adds a sense of distance to your radiance. So perhaps this isn't really about learning how to shine. It's about learning when to step back. It's about accepting your mind often travels far away. There are moments when your spirit and your physical body are simply not existing in the same place. And that's okay. You're learning to allow yourself to temporarily release your independence and lean on others. What I find fascinating is that we began with the Sun and now we arrive at the Star. The Sun corresponds with Leo energy, while the Star carries Aquarius energy. Together, they represent the axis between the individual and the collective. Your light has never been the problem. The lesson is learning how your light can reach beyond a single space, a single audience, or a single role. With distance, your light expands. As you learn to balance light and distance, you may notice something interesting. There may have been a period in your life where you shined intensely within certain environments, certain communities, or around certain people. You burned brightly. You were passionate. You stood out. If you told me that you were once very popular, well-known, or highly admired, I would now doubt it. But now you seem to be stepping away from the center stage and moving toward a higher perspective, allowing your light to shine from a distance. Your light has not become weaker. It has simply become softer, less scorching, more dreamy, more healing, more comforting. If I were to explain this through romantic relationships, I almost feel that when you love someone less intensely, they actually feel your love more deeply. I see you becoming one of the safest people within this group. Many of you may work as healers, teachers, guides, counselors, or simply hold healing energy naturally, whether professionally or informally. Healing is not just a skill for you, it's a way of living. In some things, I see you teaching people how to survive. There is a feeling of stepping down from the throne or stepping down from the pedestal because you want to meet people as equals. By sharing your own vulnerability, you make others feel safe enough to share theirs. Within the collective, you begin to understand that everyone carries some form of not belonging. It's quite interesting that you fulfill the responsibility of the teacher by becoming the student. Now let's see how you can finally become your own home. We have the King of Cups and the Fool. We also have the Tower as the underlying energy. Okay, I feel very strongly about this version of the Tower. Unlike the Tower in other decks that emphasize destruction, this Tower speaks of something that can withstand the fire. It says that true gold does not fear being tested. No matter what changes life brings, you eventually discover that every challenge was within your capacity to handle. After each upheaval, you realize that your life was never truly destroyed. In fact, it becomes stronger, more stable, more abundant. Your path may contain thorns, but it is still a path filled with flower. The King of Cups and the Fool show two stages of being at home and being outside the home, before change and after change. Your mind may be shaken during the Tower moments, but your emotional strength continues to deepen. This is exactly what we mentioned earlier. What is soft becomes strong. You become your own firefighter. You know how to cool your own flames. You can calmly process profound changes in your beliefs without allowing emotional turbulence to overwhelm you. And after every transformation, you are still willing to step back into life. You are still willing to begin again. It feels as though each shifting in perspective doesn't destroy your love for life. Instead, it gives you another reason to love life even more. You continue exploring, you continue experiencing, you continue blooming. I have to say that from the outside, others may feel that you have been through many difficult experiences, perhaps even life-altering ones. But what moves me the most is this. After everything you've experienced, when you look back, you realize that you were never truly afraid. Why do you feel like you don't belong? Because you no longer depend on the world to provide belonging for you. You are your own home, and you are your own guide. The oracle card we have here is Leo, I will. We began this reading with the Sun, which carries Leo energy, and we end with Leo once again. Even though life's Tower moments have humbled you, softened you, and told you when to be quiet, your pride remains, your dignity remains. People will not look down on you because of your humility. They will respect you even more because of your kindness. This card suggests that you may receive attention in the near future. Your creativity and self-expression are especially strong right now, and people are naturally drawn to you. Some of you may attract unique companions, unconventional friendships, or people who share niche interests or specialized skills. You may also feel more optimistic than usual during this period. So simply be mindful of spending, investments, or financial decisions. Okay, to everyone who chose part 1, I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 2, welcome to your reading. First, let's look at where the feeling of not belonging comes from. We have 8 of Pentacles and a Strength. We also have the Devil as the underlying energy. The very first thing I want to say is this. You are an incredibly loyal soul. In fact, it almost feels as though your heart belonged somewhere long before you were even born. There's a sense that you were sent here with a mission, as if you were great coming to this lifetime to repair, to reorganize, or to resolve certain things. You may not actually enjoy change. You may prefer stability. Yet somehow, life keeps moving you from one place to another, again and again. And each time, you seem to arrive somewhere in order to fix, improve, heal, or transform something. For some of you, these repeated transitions happen through relationships, and for others, through career changes, relocations, or even health experiences. I also sense that many of you were born with a naturally rebellious spirit, perhaps not in an obvious way. You may not appear rebellious on the surface, but deep down, you are not someone who easily submits. You were never meant to blindly follow, and through all of these twists and turns, you gradually shape yourself into someone who can truly accomplish things, achievements that people can clearly see. It's almost as though while you are repairing something, the very thing is also repairing you. Because of this, I feel a very strong sense of destiny around this pile. Perhaps you were not originally interested in spirituality, fate, or metaphysical subjects. Maybe you were not someone who believed in destiny at all. But life slowly guides you toward it. Experience after experience leaves you feeling that some things simply cannot be explained logically, and eventually you find yourself becoming more interested in these subjects. Now we are asking where your lack of belonging comes from. And honestly, there is some truth to the idea that you were never entirely meant to belong here. So of course, the feeling arises naturally. But here's the interesting part. During your early years, many of these I have no choice experiences may have left you feeling deeply wronged. You may have felt that life was unfair. You may have lost interest in the future. You may have felt disconnected from life itself. But as your understanding of destiny deepens, and that these unavoidable experiences begin to reveal their meaning, something shifts inside you. You begin to relax. You begin to understand. And strangely enough, you start developing a sense of belonging, even though you still know, deep down, you don't entirely belong here, and perhaps never fully will. You begin to think, at least in this moment, I belong here. For you, belonging isn't about permanence. It doesn't have to last forever. Belonging can exist in the present moment. It can be temporary. It can be immediate. And this reading feels surprisingly emotional because although you may not be someone who openly expresses delicate emotions, your emotional world is actually incredibly rich. You simply prefer to express those feelings through actions, through work, through the tangible things you do. I do have to say that I can see many of you experiencing unfair treatment, criticism, or even hostility earlier in life. It's almost as if fate gave softness to everyone else while giving challenges to you. But what's truly moving is what emerged from those experiences. You develop genuine generosity, a truly open heart, a kind of wisdom that earns people's respect. I don't know exactly where you are in your life right now, but I do know this. You will accomplish something significant in this lifetime. One of your soul's lessons is not to obsess over where your true home is. Instead, your lesson is, where my heart finds peace, there is my home. Next, let's see what this loneliness is trying to teach you. We have Three of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. We also have the Ace of Pentacles as the underlying energy. This loneliness is teaching you patience, and through patience, it's teaching you to build confidence and inner security. This connects beautifully with the energies of strength and the devil, because we often imagine belonging as something dramatic, almost like love at first sight. We think, I should immediately feel that I belong in this relationship, this group, or this environment. But these cards tell a different story. For you, belonging is actually a choice. You decide whether you want to belong somewhere. You decide whether you want to stay and build something over time. One thing you may not realize is this. You are far more loved and welcomed than you think. You are the kind of person people want as a family member, a friend, a partner, or a collaborator. If you choose to, almost any group would gladly welcome you. Some groups would even see you as a blessing. The truth is, however, that it may take you a very long time to believe that, and then another long period of time before you allow yourself to open up. For some of you, each life chapter may feel like it lasts 7 years. But time itself is only a concept. Experience is what matters. If you truly wanted to, you could decide to belong right now. You could choose to stay. You could choose to build. Another challenge I see is that you may believe people only appreciate you because of a particular skill, talent, or a function that you currently possess. But the Three of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles reveal something very different. People experience you as a whole person. They don't simply see what you can do today. They see your overall energy. They see your future. They see who you could become. What people truly value is the possibility of walking a long road with you. You do not need to arrive fully formed. You do not need to possess every quality from the beginning. At the same time, I understand why you needed this period of pause and re-evaluation. When we are young, we often fall into two illusions. The first is believing we fully know ourselves. The second is believing we fully understand other people. Only after disappointment, frustration, and heartbreak do we realize that we knew neither ourselves nor others as well as we thought. But once you release those old assumptions and begin again, I see a new opportunity waiting for you, and it feels divinely guided. A blessed opportunity, a destined connection. This opportunity has the potential to turn your old dreams into reality. Because during these periods when you had nobody to rely on, you learned how to become your own source of strength. You learned how to stand alone without feeling resentful. You learned how to experience solitude without feeling abandoned. You stopped depending entirely on the outside world. Not because you've lost faith in people, but because you've become excited to discover what this new version of yourself can build. I see someone who has already traveled a very long road, and yet you still feel young. You still have enthusiasm. Whether you've already achieved success or not, I see that you still have so much left to create. Now let's see how you can become your own home. We have the King of Wands, and we have the Devil card again. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Justice. What I hear very clearly is this. You must reclaim your own name. You must defend your ambitions, your desires, your dreams, your ideal version of yourself. At some point, certain desires or goals of yours may have been judged as selfish, inappropriate, unrealistic, immoral, or wrong, and now you are being asked to restore your own authority. Don't rush to judge the Devil card. Other people's misunderstandings should never become your identity. Hidden inside the Devil is extraordinary mastery and self-control. I also see that many of you are actually afraid of success. Not because you don't want it, but because you don't want the responsibility that comes with it. You may also fear the temptations and pressures that accompany power and achievement. And yet your life lessons are deeply connected to power and desire and learning how to handle both. Even if you want to withdraw, give up, or live quietly, life seems to keep pushing you towards these themes. The first time the Devil appeared is to beside strength. Now it appears beside the King of Wands. Earlier I said, you are an incredibly loyal person, but in the past, you wanted to give that loyalty to the outside world. Your lesson is learning to become loyal to yourself. Because if you aren't loyal to yourself, then no matter how loving your partner is, how sincere your friendships are, or how warm a community may be, you will still feel that you don't belong. You still believe that happiness belongs to someone else. You may even try to control others or sacrifice yourself in exchange for security. The King of Wands and the Devil feel like your light side and your shadow side. Justice isn't asking you to destroy one and choose the other. It's asking you to balance both, to allow both sides to serve you. Whether it's family, work, or relationships, your healthy state isn't absolute goodness or absolute darkness. It's flexibility. It's knowing when to advance and when to retreat, when to lead and when to surrender. And this is justice. The oracle card we have here is Jupiter Return, Benefits. This is a beautiful card. When Jupiter Return appears, many of the obstacles and the confusion in your life begin to dissolve. In their place, opportunities begin to appear from multiple directions. You may receive several offers at once, several possibilities, several doors opening, so choose wisely. Many blessings are arriving simultaneously, but it's important to maintain balance and avoid overconfidence. I also see tremendous spiritual growth taking place. Your reputation within groups may improve. People may look up to you. You may attract admirers or supporters. Travel energy is also very strong for you. Certain places may feel spiritually significant, almost as though your soul recognizes them. And perhaps most beautifully of all, you may begin to feel a sense of belonging in environments or communities that once made you uncomfortable. This may surprise you, but it feels wonderful. Allow yourself to receive it and be grateful for it. Sending love and blessings to everyone who chose Power 2, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 3, welcome to your reading. First, let's look at where this feeling of not belonging comes from. We have Ace of Cups and the Seven of Swords. At the bottom of the deck, we have Six of Pentacles. Compared to the previous two piles, their sense of not belonging feels more innate or soul-based. Your feeling of not belonging seems to have developed through life experience. You were not born feeling different. You were not someone who naturally saw yourself as an outsider. In fact, I see you approaching people with genuine kindness. You sincerely accept others, and you sincerely hope to be accepted in return. During the early stages of your life, whenever you encountered imbalance or unequal relationships, your first instinct was often to blame yourself. If you didn't receive a response, you assumed you hadn't given enough, or perhaps you thought something had gone wrong in a way you expressed to yourself. Because deep down, you've always believed that giving should naturally lead to receiving. And this doesn't only apply to relationships. It also applies to your goals, your efforts, and the life you are trying to build. You are not a controlling person. Quite the opposite. I'd experience you as someone incredibly tolerant and accommodating because you're accepting. You're able to embrace differences. You don't force people to respond the way you want them to. But when your efforts receive no response, or even a relationship becomes unbalanced, something inside you becomes disturbed. Your inner sense of order is disrupted, and you no longer know where you stand. The Ace of Cups suggests that you are fundamentally an emotional and relationship-oriented person. When you meet new people or enter new environments, unlike those who immediately build walls around themselves, you approach life with an open heart. Your first instinct is often to notice people's beauty, their gifts, and their potential. And we have to admit that even difficult people often possess attractive qualities, and I sense that you are especially sensitive to the good in others. You naturally notice what is beautiful. Because of this, you are often the first person to develop affection, appreciation, or curiosity toward someone. You are willing to invest the time and emotional energy in understanding them. But as time passes and the connection deepens, something begins to change. It's not necessarily that the other person becomes worse in your eyes. Rather, the connection itself slowly loses warmth. Your sense of belonging within that relationship gradually decreases. And I can also feel your inner conflict when this happens, because the person, the relationship, or the environment may not actually be bad. You may still think highly of them. You may even continue acting as though you feel connected. But deep down, you have to admit that you no longer feel warmth there. You no longer feel at home. There's a subtle feeling of, it's a pity to let go, yet staying no longer brings joy. Of course, in some situations, the other person truly is unhealthy or harmful, and in those cases, your sincerity feels even more betrayed. So this card suggests that your sense of not belonging wasn't something you were born with. It slowly developed through your life experiences. Even now, you still approach the world with sincerity, but you've learned to add a layer of consideration. On the surface, you may feel that you've become more calculating, more cautious, or more concerned with fairness. But the Six of Pentacles shows that what you've truly learned is the importance of mutual exchange. Your inner balance matters, and your emotional order deserves to be protected. Now let's see what this loneliness is trying to teach you. We have the Death card and the Judgment. We also have Three of Pentacles as the underlying energy. This loneliness is teaching you that there are moments in life when you must choose to end something yourself. Earlier I mentioned your hesitation. As you've matured, you probably learned how to walk away from situations that are clearly unhealthy. But what truly troubles you are the situations that aren't terrible. The people who are still good people. The relationships that simply grow distant. If we use romantic relationships as an example, this might look like having a partner who is objectively wonderful, yet you slowly feel yourself withering within the relationship. You may even find yourself performing happiness, pretending everything is fine, and over time, this becomes exhausting. You feel as though you are hurting yourself while also deceiving the other person. The Three of Pentacles again emphasize that you are deeply relationship-oriented. You value connection, and once you've built something with someone or something, you treasure it. This doesn't only apply to people. You form attachments to objects, places, memories, routines, and environments as well. You become emotionally connected. And when something becomes familiar, it's very difficult for you to let go. It begins to feel like part of the foundation of your life. Letting you go can feel like allowing your life to become unstable. A small side note here, I do sense that some of you may have a tendency to keep things. You may collect the possessions, hold on to items for a long time, and find decluttering emotionally stressful. Letting go can feel overwhelming. Now coming back to the reading, this loneliness is encouraging you to shift your attention away from emotional concerns and toward your physical reality. When loneliness appears, ask yourself, aside from the emotional experience, has your material life actually been threatened? Earlier, the Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles both show me that many of you live very structured lives. Even if everything isn't perfectly organized all the time, your life generally contains quality, order, and stability. And this is interesting because the most reliable source of safety and belonging for you may actually from the life you've built for yourself. Judgment acts like a divine alarm clock. When it sounds, old things must be cleared away because new experiences need space to enter. Death and judgment also carry the energy of renewal. Sometimes we let go only so that something can return in a completely different form. Sometimes we leave so that we can experience wonder again. These cards suggest that during periods of solitude, you'll gradually overcome your fear of endings. You'll begin to realize that endings are not the end of the story. They are simply part of a much longer journey. I also feel that some of you prefer to fully understand everything before making a decision. You want complete certainty, but during this period, you may begin learning how to trust your intuition first and understand things afterward. You'll make decisions, and then clarity will slowly arrive. For you, creating space for yourself is essential. You don't need to fear making the wrong decision simply because you didn't think everything through. What is truly meant for you will return, and what genuinely belongs with you will find its way back. Now let's see how you can become your own home. We have the Emperor and Knight of Wands. At the bottom of the deck, we have Knight of Cups. What I feel here is that if you previously been someone who handed the final decision to other people, for example, staying in an unhealthy situation, while secretly hoping the other person would make the choice for you, these cards are asking you to take action yourself. You are both your own ruler and your own messenger. When you give yourself an instruction, trust yourself enough to carry out. I know you are extremely soft-hearted. You don't want to hurt other people and you don't want to hurt yourself. So you hesitate, you worry, and you consider everyone's feelings. But sometimes, strength means being willing to make the difficult decision. Neither death nor judgment suggest that endings will destroy you. Quite the opposite, they both emphasize that renewal requires space. You may naturally hesitate, which is why both the Emperor and the Knight of Wands encourage you to develop momentum, courage, and determination. But I want to emphasize that these cards are not encouraging aggression. So you don't need to become harsh and you don't need to become cold. They simply want you to become steady, to stand firmly beside yourself. The presence of two Knight cards also tells me that no matter what decision you make, your sincerity is still being communicated. Your genuine heart still reaches other people. The people involved understand your sincerity, so you don't need to be afraid of being misunderstood. The Emperor also shows me something very interesting. When you finally release the people, environments, or situations that leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, or emotionally abandoned, your life force returns very quickly. Your confidence returns, your vitality returns, and perhaps most importantly, your sense of belonging returns. For the oracle card we have here is the Pluto, transformation. This is a powerful energy. When Pluto appears, your intuition, your perception, and your inner strength begin to deepen. You'll find yourself capable of things you once thought were impossible, and this success often happens quietly, slowly, until suddenly everything changes. You may also begin seeing positive experiences from a much deeper perspective. And honestly, some of these realizations may feel uncomfortable. Sometimes the more we understand, the more painful things become. Perhaps this is simply part of growing up. Some relationships may come to an end during this period. Others may become much deeper because both people are investing equally. You may occasionally sense mysterious energy around you or feel especially connected to spiritual experiences. But while seeking truth, remember to protect yourself. Discernment is important. Some of you may also experience fluctuations in finances. With Pluto, crisis and opportunity often arrive together, so practice good risk management. Your personal energy field is also becoming especially magnetic and attractive. People may feel drawn toward you because of this. Be mindful of who you allow into your space. Protect your energy. Choose carefully. Okay, sending love and blessings to everyone who chose Pile 3, and I'll see you in the next reading.